Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Michael Sisco show. Sorry that we're late. My internet was acting like dial-up this morning, so had to fix the modem and restart the computer. And we left Julia here, also known as Brave the World, waiting for me. So she was very patient. So appreciate that, Julia. How should I address you? Is it Brave the World? Is that how you?
You just say Julia. You already said it, so.
Oh, that's true. It's on your website. So while I set up super chats, why don't you go ahead just introduce yourself to those who may not have heard of you.
Sure. I've been on YouTube for like 6 years. I started with a pro-gun video and like some conspiracy stuff, which is all now coming true. Good stuff. Then I went heavy into Bitcoin and politics and everything in between. Currently, I talk more about religion, society, technology, motherhood, family, community, all that stuff that you can actually do to change the world.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you on. I was watching your old InfoWars video, so I'm sorry that you've fallen off so far that you go from Alex Jones to the Michael Sisco show. So
happens to the best of us, yes.
well, it happened to Jay Dyer last night too. So
yeah, I watched that stream. It was good. A little depressing, but the Orthodox tend to be that way.
Yeah, well, it was actually pretty cool for me because it's not every day I get to interview my favorite YouTuber. I've been following Jay for years, so I think I do a good job of hiding my excitement?
No. you were like, oh my god, Jay Dyer.
Really?
Yeah, you were a little bit. It's okay. He's a cool dude.
Was it that bad? Was it that bad?
It wasn't that bad, but you know.
Yeah. Well, when I brought my first big interview was Dr. E. Michael Jones on my.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I used to just have a podcast and it wasn't a video. So, but I mean, we were using Skype to record, and I was so nervous. I just I could barely get my questions out. I was like, But now that went well. And then the second time I interviewed him, I was good to go. It was kind of like normal. But yeah, I wasn't nervous last night. I was just pumped. I was like, yes, Jay Dyer. So
no, it was good. I enjoyed it.
Ah, thank you. Anyways, I'm thrown way off. I don't know if I have any housekeeping for the fans in the show, but we did hit 1,000 subs last night on YouTube, so I'm celebrating that. I had pizza and brownies, so you get happy Michael this morning. So, thank you.
Congratulations.
Welcome to the party. I did it the hard way. I'm on 20 platforms, and so I was like, maybe this wasn't the best idea because it was really hard to get the 1,000 here. So,
and once you hit 30K, you're just gonna get canceled anyway. So
that's true. But we do have D Live as a backup, and we are on BitChute for playbacks and whatnot. So everybody go find those. But anyways, we're here to talk about the modern state of women, and you're going to school us on that. So what is the current state of women and in our society? And Ray of course is calling me awkward because that's what happens when I'm in front of a woman. So Ray, she's married, bro. She's married. I'm just
natural awkwardness. I think that's okay.
Yeah, I think I'm just naturally awkward.
I think so. I don't think it has to do with me having pigtails or anything.
No.
The natural state of women today is just slightly worse than the natural state of men today. It's they're just a little more sad, fat, and useless. I'm talking averages here, ladies. You're obviously the exception, definitely. But yeah, the average woman. Did you know that the average woman today weighs as much as the average man weighed in 1960?
Wait, really?
Really? Women have had a 15% weight increase since the 60s. Men have had a 13%. And then you can look at it by other demographics too that I'm not going to go into right now.
What's the average weight for a woman?
I think it went from 130 to 150 or 60. Like it went up a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
150. I ain't dating you. Check. That's messed up, which is whatever.
But it's a indication of something, right? And we can talk about that, but it's definitely an indication to uh, how the standards have been lowered all around.
Right. So we figured it out. Modern women are fat. So this is really a dieting and nutrition show. So, but yeah, why don't you dive in? So what is that indicative of?
Yeah, they're sad, fat, and useless. And it's like the work thing is hilarious because the majority of average women go into jobs where they're just like displacing their natural instincts for maternity and caretaking on like the greater society, and that's usually really, really bad because they're like a managerial class and like an Oedipal mother. Like all like the good part of this is a lot of women are doctors. They have higher empathy, so that's great. But then everything else they do, like the women that aren't intelligent enough to be doctors, they're just like policing people. Like all of their jobs are just policing people. And the ones that aren't, they turn into that. So that's not great for society. Like those kinds of women should just be at home creating communities, policing like the pedos and like the drunks and stuff. That's what women should be doing. Instead, they're in corporations, like making sure people don't say the wrong thing. So that's generally why things have declined in the workforce, like in terms of like work environment and the whole PC stuff. I blame women for that.
The HR department.
It's all women. And it's like you talk to any woman in San Francisco and she's like, oh, I work at a tech company. What do you do? It's like PR. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're definitely not like those other girls. So yeah. And then also like the whole working thing, working women these days. I don't know like why feminism teaches women that women didn't work before. This just shows that the women who write feminism are like significantly privileged. They're from a privileged class where, yes, women didn't work. But throughout history, if you're poor or like we didn't really have middle classes before, if you're not rich, you worked. Women always worked, always. And it was hard labor. It was closer to home, but the male jobs are also closer to home unless you were like in, fighting a war or like cannot find a job near home. So yes, women's jobs were in the home. Men's jobs were just like slightly outside of the home. It's not true that women didn't work. So I don't see where this whole like narrative comes from. It comes from the upper classes, the women that wrote all the feminist propaganda. Well, some of it isn't, some of it started out with pretty reasonable gripes, but the stuff we get now is all based on like a pretty perverted image of how women used to live. And that comes from like the upper classes.
Yeah. I mean, there was kind of a shift in the US after World War II. I mean, before that, we had a economy that you could actually survive on a single income. And then after like women kind of flooded the workforce, it's almost impossible to survive on a single income.
Well, if they just went back to their homes and refused to go into the workforce, they wouldn't be able to tax them, would they?
No, that's true.
We kind of fell into their play right there. They took advantage of that situation.
Yeah. I do think, I mean, women are kind of drawn to maternalistic jobs in a way, like nurses and teachers and stuff. But of course, then they just brainwash our kids with Marxism, and feminism. So
yeah, they need to understand that like socialism doesn't scale. Like socialism is great with your kids. It doesn't scale outside the house. It's good for your neighborhood. Share stuff, definitely. Take care of people, yes, but it doesn't work beyond that.
Yeah. What is your thought on the modern day Karen? Right, a musician.
Oh, it's like an amazing pathology. It really is. It's like the women. So there are a lot of really bad Oedipal mothers. Like women do become mothers these days still, and they, coddle their kids, and there's the whole like Munchausen by proxy stuff that's becoming worse and worse and worse. And then you have the Karens who are sometimes, like a lot of the time, they're not moms. So like that instinct is like even more detrimental because they don't have anyone to like focus it on. Like they're not abusing their own kids like a woman would generally do as an Oedipal mother. They're just like abusing everyone, and everyone needs to, stand in line and go to their room and follow the rules. And it's absolutely insane. Like these women, I don't want to be too mean, so I'm going to stop talking.
Vicious dog moms. That's always a red. Psychos. It's always a red flag for me when I'm not that I use dating apps ever. I've been banned from one permanently. So a hit piece came out on me, and they mentioned that I had that app, and that like within an hour they banned me for life from a hit piece.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy. But whenever you see dog mom of 4 or something like that, just go away. It's a red flag. Red flag.
If I was a guy, I wouldn't date a woman who has a dog at all.
I have a dog, but like if there's some sort of
I wouldn't date a single guy with a dog either.
Oh, come on.
I would ban all pets for people under 40. Get the birth rates up. That's what I would do.
Yeah, well, I had my dog from when most of my fans know I'm
geese allowed. Only geese.
I'm divorced, so I kept my dog from I've had him for over 10 years, and
I'm mostly kidding.
I hope so, because I like my dog, but I also don't call myself a dog dad because that's gay. That's just gay. So
yeah, it's also untrue.
Yeah, I just have a dog. I have a dog, and he gets treated. he gets treated like a dog. So Origin says, "What about otters?" I think only gay people have otters. Isn't that right?
If you have an otter, can we please be friends? That's awesome. That means you must have like reservation land. You can't keep an otter inside.
Joanna the disciple likes you. We have
I like you too, Joanna. Thank you.
I don't think Joanna's real. We have a Telegram chat for ortho people, like with geopolitiks. It's an Orthodox chat, and these Turks, they keep invading our chat, right? and there's one there's one who is obsessed with Joanna, and he like stalks her, and Eugen joins the chat and says, "Where's Joanna?" as a joke, and now suddenly there's Joanna the disciple. So I'm thinking that Joanna is really Eugen just talking to himself. So
sandboxing himself. Sounds about right.
Sorry, Eugen. I threw you under the bus. Just kidding. Just kidding. JK. So let's describe the current state of, or the ideal state of woman. And we know that it does not include yoga pants, right?
The ideal state of womanhood, to be in union with masculinity. If you ask me a meta question, I'll give you a meta answer.
What does that look like?
It looks like not trying to be masculine, not trying to battle masculinity, not trying to be in conflict with masculinity, but being a cohesive unit with the masculine, just like God intended. And if you're not religious, literally every religion describes this in some form or another. And, if you're not religious, like that's still something to look at. Like you can't just dismiss every culture in the world throughout history.
Yeah. Hey, are you Orthodox?
Mm-hmm.
You are? Okay, cool. That's so yeah, I thought you were, but I wasn't sure. Yeah, I mean, even the Orthodox view of marriage is kind of explains, it's like you become you die to each other's will, but you still have your proper role, and you're striving towards salvation, towards theosis, but Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but but I mean, it's like you complement each other as one, but your differences are complementary towards being one unit. And if you were both it just wouldn't work if you were both
Yeah,
masculinized or both
it doesn't
feminized.
work. It doesn't work. And like honestly, I'm my personality and the way I am naturally is actually like I'm a pretty bad candidate for a traditional marriage and kids and stuff. I just am. I'm like, and I've had to do a lot of self teaching and recalibration in order for these things to work for me because it's what I wanted in my life. Like I had a career. I was at the peak of my career when I went forward with just going like focusing on a more traditional lifestyle. And I did it. I just left it overnight pretty much because I always knew I wanted kids and a family and a stable home and a husband. And you know, it took several years. Like I'm just now at a point where I'm comfortable in submitting in the biblical sense to like this marriage and my husband and being in that role. It's very difficult for me. I am a person who is naturally in conflict with masculinity. So I know this firsthand. Like, and a lot of women, it comes really natural to them. And I know women like these, and a lot of these women are still feminists, even though it's like it's so natural to them to be in that role. So there's an irony to it for the majority of women because like the majority of women are actually very, very feminine, and if they find somebody that is worth that submission, it'll be easy for them. And when I say submission, like I'm not saying like people don't like that word except in the bedroom. Also
Oh,
funny,
geez.
right? But it doesn't mean you're below someone. Okay, it's you can't have two drivers. Like just because you're in a passenger seat doesn't mean you're less human. And
Yeah.
like that, so I don't know why people have such a problem with it, but you need the male leadership in your marriage. You need it. And obviously in other areas of the household, like the women actually rule the household and rule many decisions with children and parenting, etc. Your husband has to sign off on it, but it is, you know, orchestrated mainly by the women. But you cannot be in your husband's business all the time telling him what to do and trying to guide his, like you don't guide his path, you support him. And you're supposed to make your husband better and complete him. And you cannot be less than someone if you're completing them, right? So people have this weird, they don't like that word, but I'm going to use it. Like submit, find a good man to submit to and submit to him and become in union together.
Oh man, I'm making every date watch this episode. This is awesome. I like this lady. I
But
second.
ladies, if your man isn't following, you know, the proper word of God and living his life poorly, then he's not, like, you need to help recalibrate him in that direction. So like I'm not saying like, oh yeah, oh my husband beats me and is an alcoholic and sits on the couch all day, submit to him. Obviously not. You're not going to submit to a God that's flawed or not all, you know, all encompassing of love and power. Like you're going to submit only to somebody who will help your life.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm glad your husband didn't listen to Fuentes with the no e-girls. You went from e-girl to trad wife. That's good stuff.
I was before the e-girl thing. I had a YouTube channel, but I did a lot of stuff in person. I was doing a lot of on the ground Bitcoin stuff. So my husband's offline, like completely. He didn't know who the heck I was.
That's probably the only
He'd
reason you
never
were.
heard of me. He just met and we were at a Bitcoin dinner and we met and we liked each other.
Oh, that's cool. You probably wouldn't have been all that interested if he was like a fanboy, right?
I wouldn't have been. That's weird.
Yeah, yeah, it was
I'm
weird.
like, why are you watching my YouTube videos? That's weird. I mean,
That's
it's
funny.
okay, but like it's nice when your husband is completely disassociated with that part of your life. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
he knows what I did and what kind of message I put out there. Like, like that's fine, but he didn't know who I was before he met me.
yeah, that's true. We have the Doorman 360. Women are trained to be rebellious to men in the culture. They're very susceptible to these methods of suggestion. That's true. Very true. Pumpkin says, "What was your family life? You don't have to go this deep if you don't want to. What was your
It's
family
fine.
life growing up, and how did that
Uh,
affect your disposition today?"
my friend Cody and I have like this joke where like, oh, we're fucked up because our family life was so normal and good. Like we don't fit into today's culture anymore. Yeah, my family life was wonderful. Still is. Like my mom's here helping me with the kids. Like my parents modeled a very good marriage for me. Like my dad was the leader. My mom was the the maiden, the helping maiden. And they, my dad makes all the decisions in the family, and he's the strong one, and he moved us from Russia to North America, and my mom was terrified, and she would have never done it on her own, but she supported him and trusted him. Imagine if she was opposing the masculine, she would have said, no, that's stupid and scary, why would you do that? And we would be rotting in Russia right now. No, she always supported my father and trusted him. But when she, like, there have been times where she, logically opposed him in some decisions, and she, laid out the reasons for it, and my father, was convinced otherwise, and she was actually right in some cases. Like, it is a mutual thing, but you have to listen to each other and support each other and prop each other up. And he could have went against her and done the thing anyways, but he was intelligent enough to trust his wife as well. So it goes both ways. But yeah, my parents are great. They're still married. They got married early. They had kids early. They're still together.
Awesome, awesome. When did they leave? Was it during the Soviet Union or
Right after the collapse, right? The first or second round of people being let out.
okay? So
You
what do
couldn't
you?
really leave before then.
It got me curious. You said rotting in Russia because I kind of view America as kind of going down the Bolshevik path right now, and Russia seems to be moving towards. Not that you wanted to be there the last 30 years, but seems to be moving in a
Hey,
different
we
direction.
can talk about this, but it's a long conversation.
Maybe
Basically, it's optics. Okay, I'll break it down real fast. It's optics. Russia has conservative traditional optics, but the reality, like the outcomes and the reality of the country, don't really reflect that. So Russia doesn't necessarily promote a lot of the far left things that America is doing, but Russia has severe economic and incentives problems in its country. Like, you cannot run a business in a clean way in Russia. It's part of the reason why we left. You start a business, someone will take it from you. Easy. Because they have more force and more money, more connections. If you're successful in Russia, you did it dirty. You have to do it dirty. That's a really stressful regime to live under. So we have this post-communist capitalism that's run by oligarchs and their mafias. It's an awful place to raise a family. People who have hard work ethics like get punished constantly. It's just not. It's really difficult to survive there in an honest way. Also, they do have a far left societal rot. Like, I watch enough trashy Russian TV to see they have the same fucking problems as we do here. The women, in the cities. So let's compare the cities. The women are pumped up. All they care about is money. They're a little bit more traditional in the fact that they do want a really masculine man, et cetera, et cetera. But the relationship quality of like the marriages, like Russia, did you guys know Russia has 50% divorce?
yeah, and
Orthodox country,
they have a
Orthodox
high,
country, 50% divorce and an incredibly high abortion rate.
yeah.
They're claiming that it's going down. Hard to believe their statistics, but let's say it's going down. It was always an Orthodox country, never a left-leaning country, and they had the highest abortion rate 20 years ago. Let's say that, to be fair.
Yeah. But I
So
mean, also be fair, 30 years removed from 70 years of official atheist state really isn't long enough to be like
exactly. Where do you
no.
think all the rot comes from in America? It's from like the Soviet sentiments, and all the universities teach that it's all great. Like, socialism did not end. Communism and socialism did not end in Russia when the Soviet Union fell. It's in America now.
Yes.
It's yeah.
Well, let us pray for both Russia and America. We both need Christ. So
Yeah.
it's all whatever. It's sad. Let's no more black pills. We will the whole world will be baptized, and we will have Byzantium globalism. That's how it's going to be with the czar.
I would love that. That'd be great. I think,
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen, but that would be great.
We're gonna make it happen in West Virginia, though. So Byzantium in West Virginia. So it's gonna be huge. So for women who may be watching this and have a desire to kind of return to the ideal or pursue that ideal of proper femininity, but they are still kind of trapped in or in a state of modern quasi femininity, which is really imitating masculism. How would you say that they should approach kind of changing and fixing themselves?
Well, first of all, women need to realize that they're biologically more valuable than men. Sorry, guys. That's why we got off the Titanic and you didn't. That's not because of social norms. Social norms come from truth sometimes. Women have eggs. Women can only bear like 10 kids in their life. We're just more biologically valuable. Look at what China did. They're totally messed up now. Like, you need women. You need more women than men. But women don't view themselves that way anymore. They don't view themselves as biologically valuable. And, they don't like to, because there's a time limit on that. So for women today, first accept you're biologically more valuable than men, and you should be prioritizing that time in your life. So then evaluate who you are. What age are you? Are you over 30? Okay. If you're over 30 and you want I'm assuming you want a marriage to a hardworking, high earning dude who wants a family and can support it, right? I'm going to assume that. If you just want anybody, then why? Okay, go get anybody. But if you're 30 or over, that's going to be tough, because men who are incredibly successful can get someone younger. Also, how good looking are you? What's your face? What's your body? Those are signs of fertility. Those are, men want good looking kids. Also, your intelligence is reflected by your outward appearance to some degree. That's just correlated, and it's also, subconscious. It's very rare that you have the opposite extreme of the two. You're super unhealthy, bad looking, but you're really, really, really smart. It does happen, but it's kind of the exception. Also, what's your output like? What's your skill set? And I'm not talking about, do you have a PhD or something? Because men don't care about your education or how much money you bring in. But they do care about if you're useless or not.
We care about those ovaries more than your master's degree. Sorry.
Well, yes. But the femininity thing comes from how you conduct yourself and where your values lie. So if you don't have the capacity to do basic things and cooperate with people and have basic communication skills, if you're constantly argumentative and in conflict, that's not feminine. Don't do that. And also, ladies, there are better ways to talk to men than in a masculine manner. There's so many examples I can give. When I would go to a Bitcoin conference and I'm surrounded by men, and if I was a man, they would just argue with me and not listen. But because I was a woman, I could disarm them, and they actually listened to what I said. So if you learn how to use that feminine quality, you can actually be very advantageous in the connections you make and the impact you make in the world, because you're not masculine. And when you pretend to be masculine, men are just going to be even more in opposition to you, because not only are you not a man, okay, you're acting like a man. So they're on guard and they don't respect you. That's not going to work. So be feminine and use your qualities to your advantage. I don't know why women just throw those things away. They don't think about it.
Yeah, those are the women that get trolled. The ones who are argumentative and acting like men. We troll you. It's fun too, actually. But not that I ever troll anybody ever. Doorman 360 says we're designed to protect and die for women and children. It is instinctual. That's true when you think about it.
Yeah.
It is.
And when women don't let you do it, they're, that's crazy. It's like dysgenic, right? Men want to give you their money, their seed, and their body in war. And you're like, nah, I'm gonna go work for a guy at a company and police people and make sure no one's feelings are hurt for $40K a year.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That sounds like slavery to me.
Yeah, they choose the corporate machine over a husband that will be with them forever, till the end of their lives.
And like girls, like if that's what you want to do, like there's many women who just don't want family, don't want kids, and they do want to work and like whatever they want, like they don't want those things. That's fine. Okay. Where my heart hurts is the women who do want those things, but they go about it in the completely backwards way and they don't get those things. And then they hit 35 and they're like, oh my God, why didn't I get those things? I have a higher education. I have a 70K a year job working for a man. Why doesn't a man want to be with me? And it's because like men don't want to be with men.
Yeah, because we aren't gay. So
no one is gay. Yeah.
These are interesting points. And let's see here. We have more. Yes, everyone hit the like button. Hit the like button. Managers are like mommies for corporations, only you don't get the benefits of motherhood.
Women, if they're all in managerial positions, it's so obvious. Go have a kid. You want to be challenged? Go have a kid. That's hard to manage.
It's true. So what would you say? I mean, obviously we have every woman. We live in interesting times where we have a preponderance of people who we're with COVID-19. We kind of have a financial crisis where a lot of people just aren't well off. How do you go about finding a provider who may not be really making do you prioritize just struggling through it, or a lot of people just aren't financially there right now?
What's the question specifically?
So like women finding a husband in these times where the wage gap, the haves and the have-nots are really like, it's mostly have-nots and a little bit of haves, and men financially struggling.
Yeah, it's hard. And if you're not a 10 out of 10 and 25 and ready to have kids, you're not going to find a financially stable guy who wants that with you. Probably not. I mean, like, obviously there's exceptions. If you're 30, 10 out of 10, and you're like ready to have kids now and you fall madly in love with some amazing dude, of course that happens. Yeah, all the time. But like, if you're 32 and you're like a 6 and overweight, on antidepressants, it's probably like you need to change something. It's not going to fall into your lap. And it's okay to be with someone on your level. Like, not everyone can have ultimate provider. And also, what does that mean? That's not always necessarily hyper financial. Like, if you can have someone with a stable job, with a skill set, like someone who can build, like everyone always needs things built. That's stability. And it's not, you're not going to be drinking fine wine every night, but that's a good life. It's a good life. Yeah. So learn to be frugal, learn like who you actually are and what your worth is, and like match up. Like if you're chasing the clouds all the time, you're not going to catch anything. You're just going to be alone with your dogs.
Cats. Yeah. Based philosophy, Mom. She wishes that you were neighbors. So
I recognize that handle. I see her around.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you on? I know she's on
Texas.
Telegram. Really, Texas? Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. You guys barely went red this year, so.
Yeah, but you know what? I live in a boomer Mexican neighborhood, and they're all military Trumpers with
Really?
10 kids and are Catholic. So I'm waiting for those 10 kids to grow up and like stop being socialists, which does happen. Most regular people are like, oh yeah, look at all this tax coming out of my paycheck. What? And like by 25, 30, they're like, no, I think daddy was right. I think we're going to be right wing. So I'm waiting for that. I don't think the state will flip. Like everyone's people do these projections based on the past, but things change. Like kids grow up and stop being communists.
Yeah, yeah. That's true. Some of my fans are like that too. There's a lot of underachiever men out there. It's slim pickings for both men and women these days. We both need to step it up. Yeah, the same goes for men. We gotta. If you're serious about getting married and finding a
The
partner.
problem, like I was a little less sympathetic to this before, but I actually met the guy, like that case in Dallas, that father whose kids being taken away from him, and like the mom's trying to put him on hormones and turn him into a girl, and he literally has videos of the son crying about it, and like the courts are still pushing for it. I met that guy, and he told me about his divorce proceedings and how insane they were. And did you know that the state, so all the judges of like divorce court, they get pensions from that are calculated from how much child support is granted in divorce cases. And you get the most child support if the mother is the prominent caretaker. So like with 50-50, you don't get as much. So they are literally incentivized to take custody away from men and give it fully to women, because that way men have to pay the most money, and the percentage of that goes to their freaking retirement funds.
Yeah. Yep.
Holy, what? So I have a lot more empathy for men after talking to this man, because his life has been totally severely hurt, and his son's life has been severely hurt by this psychotic woman, and the courts just side with her because it's financially beneficial to them. It's absolutely insane and unfair. So men don't have like the incentive. So like women are incentivized right now to take advantage of these systems. Like if you've ever gone through a divorce, or you've ever like even done a prenup, lawyers will pin you against your husband 100%. So you take like a regular normal woman without like a really strong value system, and you give her the opportunity to take everything. And she's in the heat of the moment where she, like, I don't know, maybe her husband cheated on her or like whatever. She's like really hates him right now. Yeah, she's going to take that. She's going to stick it to him because the system encourages you to. I'm not excusing these women, but incentives matter and systems matter. So if it's easy to steal in a system, more people will steal. If it's easy to screw over your husband and take everything from him in a system, more women are going to get divorced, aren't they? So yeah, and people don't understand the pressure. Like I have friends who've done prenups, and the lawyers like severely churn you against your spouse during that process. It's really damaging. Like it could be very damaging if you're not a strong person. So that's one thing. But then men, so they have the other issue where they don't have an incentive to ever get married or do anything with a woman. Like, why have a kid when your kid can just be ripped away from you because the woman decided to divorce you? It could be for a reason. It could be for no reason. And it's like, if I was a dude, I'd be so careful. So yeah, I think marriage is like, the thing that makes it more safe is if you choose someone from a really good family where like there's severe social pressure to stay together and expectation to stay together, and where you will be socially ostracized if you do something like that to your husband. This is why rich people still get married. It's not like even necessarily that they have better lawyers and like more wealth. Like if you have more wealth, then you have more to lose, right? But the top rich people try to marry also rich women, and with extensive prenups and family pressure.
Yeah, well, that works kind of in the church too. I mean, for those Orthodox, our communities are usually really tight knit. So I think we get a lot of there's that pressure there for sure.
And it's not just pressure; it's like support, right?
Yeah. So that's a good point. But we do have to all strive to just be realistic, and we're not all where we want to be, but just keep keep going there.
I always give women the advice: go for potential. Be with someone your own age and go for potential. Like I was with my husband when he lived in the Tenderloin. I was pregnant, sleeping in like a tiny studio on a bunk bed with him. Like it was one of those bunk bed things because there's no space in the apartment. So we had the couch under the bunk bed, and I had to climb up and down like 5 times a night to go to the bathroom because you're pregnant and that's what happens. And then you'd go outside and there'd be like a person dying of a heroin overdose on our door. So like, oh, I can't leave the house for a few hours, I guess, till this person falls over or whatever. Like, I'm not kidding. Like I was with him through that. If you don't believe in your husband, like, why are you with him?
Yeah. Actually, one thing that's interesting is it's not actually. I've read some studies that have indicated that it's not actually the men. The men don't really make the money until they're actually married and have a family.
Yes, it significantly goes up because that's a huge kick in the butt. Like, oh, I have to feed little people. It's a big motivator.
Yeah, and I think it's also like the support of a woman is like the natural state of that's how it's supposed to be. Literally from like God created woman to support man in the garden of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Adam wasn't fully Adam until he had Eve. So
and just the way we're made, like male friendships are not like empathy based. Like men don't call each other and like talk about how they're sad or like they're stressed out. That just doesn't happen. Like I'm an INTJ and like I'm very masculine minded, and I get along with women who are very similar to me. And even still, we're feminine enough to call each other and like cry once in a while. Like even still. But men don't do that. Men are basically alone, except for their very close, their families, if they're lucky enough to have good families, a sibling. But other than that, the girlfriend or the wife is a man's 90% of the man's emotional support. And men need it. Like men hurt, and they don't voice it, and it's not voiced. And I don't think the solution to that is to feminize men and tell them to cry and like reach out. Like it's not going to happen. Men aren't like that. The solution is to encourage marriage again, healthy marriages, because like that is your wife's role.
Yep. So women, just look at my potential, okay? I'm gonna be a rich YouTuber, and then I'm gonna get canceled, and then all my income's gonna disappear, and then you're gonna have to go to work. Okay, thank you.
Good sell, yeah.
I'm a good sell, right? It's great. Imagine if I go out with the girl, I have to tell her I'm on Right Wing Watch. I'm like, let me tell you, I'm on Right Wing Watch, and this is what it says. That's like how I have to introduce every encounter. Let's get this out of the way first.
I would definitely try and develop a trade skill if I were you, because the internet grind is a tough one. Let me tell you, even for women.
I do actually have I run political campaigns, so
there you go.
It's kind of there's like seasons.
Mental labor.
yeah. So like right now I'm between campaigns, and then the next one starts in the spring. So I do what I have to do in between. I think this is actually the real Joanna. She's talking about real stuff. So I think Orthodox men should marry lower class women because they're more about, well, actually St. John Chrysostom kind of talks about this. But those were quite different times too. We're like all literally lower class now. So
also, like, the problem with lower class today is they're like even more brainwashed into promiscuity and all of this kind of strong woman stuff. I don't necessarily disagree with the sentiment, but yeah, I guess if you find the ones that aren't trashy, yes. Like there's a middle ground, I'm sure, but a lot of it affects poor women a lot. Like it's poor women that are having 3 kids out of wedlock with different men, because again, the incentives are awful. You get paid, paid, and you can track it too. Like before, you would get paid the most welfare for 4 kids, and now they changed it, and like 3 kids you get the optimal welfare collection, so everyone's having 3 kids out of wedlock. It's
Yeah.
you can track it statistically. It's uncanny.
Yeah, and if they get married, both of their benefits disappear. So it's
Yes, it's
literally designed to destroy the family
if
unit.
it's not planned, it's like suspiciously against us.
Oh no, it's definitely planned. But that's why when I wrote Lauren Witzke's platform, we actually put in, we will pay you to get married and have 3 kids. And and like
Yeah, I think the welfare should be redirected into mothers that are married. Like you don't like but it needs to be a slow transition because you can't just cut welfare off of people because people will riot and starve and stuff. Not good. So, but yeah, there should be some sort of slow transitional stage that if a president actually cared, he would start doing these things. But the culture is against them, so I don't expect that to happen until everything collapses.
accelerate. Let's go. Accelerate your cars to West Virginia. We're going to create that's the ortho state.
Hey, my husband talks about West Virginia. I think like there's a lot of, I don't know if it's one of his states for like freedoms. He likes Montana, Alaska as well.
West Virginia, guns open carry. It's awesome, and every county went red. Every county went red.
Oh wow!
So, what type of Orthodox church does Julia go to?
I go to RoCor, but
Yes!
I go to an Antioch one in Canada when I stay with my family. That one's really nice too. But I go to a RoCor in Texas.
Yes, yes. As I said yesterday, all outside of RoCor is darkness, except for Antioch.
Well, yeah, Antioch they're cool, but RoCor I only go to convert priest churches. I don't go to churches led by Russian men.
All right, we won't go there. I
Too
go
much
to the
PTSD for me, but I like the convert priests because they understand the culture of the Protestants. They understand American culture, and they were willing to like learn Old Slavonic. That's pretty based.
Yeah, I like to hear it in my own. I mean, I just I like to understand what I'm hearing. So, I usually go to the RoCor English parishes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I do every now and then. I'll slip into a Slavic service, just for It is what Jackson says. What about Serbian churches? They usually think I'm Russian and don't treat me very nice because
Serbian Orthodox churches are like very exclusionary, and a lot of the Greek ones are too. It depends on the church, but they're a little bit more culturally exclusive. So,
yeah.
like RoCor churches can be if like 99% of the people are Russian, but if you have a convert priest, you'll have at least like 30% Americans, which is great.
Yeah. I know Johan says if RoCor would actually pay their priests, I actually like that they don't, and this is why. I know this might sound kind of messed up, but when a priest has a big salary in America, it's the parish council is like paying the priest, and they're basically held hostages by the parish council and the lay people. And then so they can't be like super based because if they offend people, well, then they could lose their salary. Whereas RoCor, they don't care what you think because they're not getting paid by you, so they're just going to tell you the truth. So that's why I like RoCor. And I don't know if it would be quite the same if they were rich and were getting big salaries. So
yeah, my priest is super based, super awesome.
But anyways, we are running out of time, and I never got to the last question. What can we all do to change our culture and have them embrace traditional gender roles again?
Well, like I said, ban pet ownership for women under 40. And honestly, things are, sorry guys, black pill, it's going to get worse. There's going to be a huge economic downturn. This corona stuff is here to stay forever. Like, we will always be wearing masks on planes. The vaccine stuff, there will be places that make it mandatory. So figure that out. And the sexes are going to be just in further conflict. So I would just make your own community, build your own relationships and friends. Don't waste your time on people who don't get it. And yeah, the community and the locality of things. Like, I know people like to travel and stuff. That's not fun anymore. So make peace with that. Get some land, get some, have some other friends, go together on land if you don't have money, and build a community, build an atmosphere where people want to come and visit. That's what we've done. Like, we have a little land, we have a guest house, we house people, and we show them what family life is like. And we've had several dudes, like young dudes, under 25, like leave and go back to their girlfriends and be like, I want that. And it's great. Just lead by example. And don't but I'm not sugarcoating it. It's hard work. And that's why it's worth it. And that's why it pays off. Sitting in your pod in the city, drinking wine every night, that's easy. And you will die a miserable death.
Yeah, that's why we're building our community in West Virginia. So I'm actually going to spend my holiday tomorrow researching. It's a real thing. It's happening. It's like taking off on Twitter. Like, we're building actual Orthodox communities. So you're going to have to leave Texas. So we're going to need you. So
we'll probably leave eventually because we want to buy way more land. But we'll see. We've already got a bunch of friends to move here, so we don't want to leave now.
Just get on a caravan. We'll caravan them all up. Dude, you can get 13 acres for $65,000 in West Virginia.
Dude, I know. My husband looks at this every day.
Let's go. We will raise the average IQ if we all go there. We'll just we'll stick together. We won't.
Right. And what you do is you build an Orthodox church on your acreage, and you donate it to a parish, and you don't pay taxes, and they get a free church.
Nice.
Hello, America.
Hello, let's go. I know somebody that did that, actually. It's a little Rockport parish too.
We have to be money minded. You can't just. The problem with a lot of religious people and a lot of people that are very peace oriented, they try to disassociate themselves from the reality of money. But did you know that the Bible uses money in analogies more than any other thing? And money is mentioned 2,000 times in just the Old Testament. It's not disassociated from us ever. Money is a foundation for the way we live our life. So you can't just and it's so corrupt and evil right now. The foundation is evil and corrupt. So find ways to be moral with your money. Bitcoin is a good example because it's not cursed by the state. And it's not inflated. Inflation is evil. Inflation is a tax in your life and your work for the future generations. Debt, learn about all this stuff and use it to your advantage. This is how the higher classes get ahead because they know how this stuff works. None of them pay their taxes. None of them, all of them take out loans and wait for the economy to crash, and then their loan is worth nothing. You have to learn about these things. You can't just stick your hand in the sand. So do these. Don't be scared to find the same loopholes that everyone else finds. It's a corrupt system anyways. So be smart with your money. Be financially wise. You can get around a lot of stuff. Just use it for good.
We have based philosophy mom saying we're not all going to West Virginia. Idaho got the win. False. I run the group. It gets the win when I say it gets the win.
Idaho's so dry.
Yeah, we're not going to Idaho.
My husband's family's from there, and it's so dry. Oh my God, it's beautiful, but
yeah. Well,
it is a contender. It's a contender.
We're actually gonna do several. We're gonna do one in the west, one in the east. So we're doing several of them so that people don't have.
Alaska has a big Orthodox community. Huge.
That's true, but they're already. Cold. I'm not going to Alaska. Come on. But anyways, any final thoughts to kind of tie everything together?
No, I think that's about it. I hope everyone's holding on tight. I know everyone's having major mood swings with what's going on these days, but be thankful for what you have. That's the best attitude you can have right now. Be thankful because people went through way worse stuff than 2020.
Yeah. Let's see how you handle this. The question that no one's ever prepared for. one reading suggestion, that book you didn't write, and it can't be the Bible.
Oh, yeah. Mephistopheles. Let me get the author for you.
I see you were ready.
I think it's Dan Brown. It's about the devil in the modern world. Russell Jeffrey Burton. Mephistopheles, the devil in the modern world. Great book. Read that.
Huh. All right. Everybody read that. Well, I appreciate you coming on today, especially given our my technical issues in the morning, which is, I apologize for that. It's not the norm, but
it's 2020. Not surprised by anything. All right. Take care. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, before you go, where can people find your stuff and follow you on Twitter and read your content?
At Brave the World and bravetheworld.com and the YouTube channel by the same name. I have a good intro to orthodoxy on my channel right now.
Oh, sweet. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back sometime next week. This week was crazy because of, Thanksgiving. So, and thank you for following up Jay Dyer. So thank you. And thanks for watching last night too. So
yeah, it was great. Good job.
Right.
Thank you. Take care.